Hello, and welcome to Husky Talk. I am your host, the best podcast host in the universe, Steve Cully. And with me today, a very special guest, a lunatic linebacker at UConn, would make plays all over the field, played in the NFL, played professionally for several years, Mr. Danny Lansanah. Danny, welcome.
Thanks for having me. I'm excited. Thanks
I
for
give I give the best introductions, just so you know. I talk you up like you're going into the Hall of Fame. That's
right.
all that matters.
Nothing wrong with it. I'll take it.
So I'm thrilled that I got a chance to get you on because I'm trying to get more of the newer guys because I don't know your class as well. So this is great. It's a good start to get guys like you and the people that followed you on because that's important to tell their stories. You are from Pennsylvania, correct?
Yes, Harrisburg, Pennsylvania.
Harrisburg, PA. That's right. Did you start playing football like at a young age? Were you one of those that started at like 8 years old, 7 years old, or did you start a little bit later?
So I played 1 year of little league football. So
Yeah.
I played 1 year, and then my parents, now it's about the concussions and stuff.
Yeah.
Like that. So my parents didn't let me play.
Yeah.
But back then, concussions wasn't that
Yeah.
unheard of. So my parents didn't let me play but 1 year because they were pastors. So they're like, you're not missing church to play football.
That's
So
true. That's very true.
it's meant for you to go to school and go to the NFL. God already wrote it. So, you can't miss church. So that was my reason why I only played 1 year. And then I started playing again. I think I was like, I want to say 9 or 10. I played 1 year, made the All-Star team, won a Super Bowl with my team. And then I didn't play again until my 7th grade year of middle school.
Did you take a liking to it right away? Because like for myself, I started at like 9.
Mhm.
And I just didn't like all the yelling and screaming. Everyone's, hooting and hollering. That kind of scared me. And the hitting aspect of it, I wasn't thrilled about. So it took a little while to get used to. Did you take a liking to it right away, or was there like an adjustment period?
No, I loved it. I
You
mean,
loved it right away?
growing up in the inner city of Harrisburg, we used to just go outside,
Yeah.
Play tackle football in the concrete, so
Yeah.
we didn't have grass. We had to go around in the grass. So, once I started playing, it was just regular stuff for me at that point.
When you started in Little League, did they have you playing both ways? Did you get to play some offense as well, or were you primarily on defense?
No, yeah, I played running back.
Oh, you got to run the rock.
Yep. And that's how I made the All-Star team, actually playing running back. So
did you like running back? Did you like running?
Yeah,
running
sure. I thought I was a fullback. Until I got to high school.
You got to blow people up.
Right.
That's what the fullbacks do. Okay, so you started, and then you played when you got older. Obviously, junior high, middle school, junior varsity. Is that kind of how the system went?
Yeah,
Did you play all? You played all the way up through.
Yeah. Great on.
Did you have any early mentors or coaches who kind of noticed that you were something special and there was talent in you and invested in you, or maybe spent a little more time with you trying to guide you?
I would say the first person that took a notice was my father. He noticed my ability, and and I was a basketball player too as well. Won a state title in high school in basketball and was really good in basketball. And he was the first person that really took a notice of my ability. And then coming up through the ranks, Coach Earl Mosley, he was my high school coach. And we weren't good. Like we had talent, but our record didn't show that. And I still got, obviously got recruited by UConn to go to UConn. So those two guys played a very big instrumental part.
They believed in you.
They believed in me, and they seen the talent from when I was young.
Did it's tougher getting recruited. Like when I got recruited during my day, because I'm older than you. We actually had to mail out VHS tapes to all the different schools. Right. I think during your era, there was more CDs or more stuff that was online where you could put your highlights up. Did you have coaches that helped with recruiting and would send your stuff out or send your highlights out? or did you and your father kind of maintain that on your own and pick the schools that you wanted to have look at you?
Well, I'm not too far removed from you then, because we had VHSs, but it was starting to get to CDs.
Right.
But a lot of schools you send the program, the summer program, like you have to come to their school and come to their camp, and I mean, we didn't have money back then, and it was like it was just a money grab. We felt like so.
Yeah.
There was one coach though. It was George Chunk, legendary coach here in Harrisburg, Pennsylvania, coached in the NFL, coached a lot of college guys. So the school that he coached at was called Central Dauphin High School. And they had guys, had a guy go commit to Penn State, went to Penn State, had a kid go to JMU. So they had like a lot of guys.
Oh,
and,
wow.
Right. So Coach Etsu, obviously a lot of guys were recruiting those guys. So they Coach George Chump, and asked him like who's a kid around here or kids around here, that we might be missing the mark on. And when I played against them, I had I played tight end too. I was really good tight end, so I had like 200 yards receiving, had like 15 tackles. And he told him about me, so they came up to Harrisburg High, and
they saw you in person. Wow.
But it was crazy. It wasn't football season when Coach Etsu offered me. He actually came and watched me play basketball. And
that happens often.
Right. And I never forget. So they were telling me like, UConn is here to come see you play in the game. So I'm like, oh, I'm about to get offered to play basketball at UConn. You know how UConn basketball is. So
right.
I had a great game, had like 35 points, and played my butt off. And they came up to me after the game and were like, yeah, my name is Coach Randy Etsu. I'm the head football coach at UConn. I'm like, wow, football, I didn't even know, y'all had a football team. So, and that's how
that's how I was too. I didn't even know they had a football team.
So that's how that whole thing came about. So Coach George Chunk called me out of kids that they might be missing in the area. My area is big for football.
It is.
Parseghian, LaShawn McCoy. So guys, I played against LaShawn. So our area is known for like a lot of football talent. So he's the one that jump started, my opportunity.
Yeah, I met LaShawn McCoy because the prep school he went to is right down the road from where I live and where I used to recruit. I think he went to Milford Academy. That was the big football prep school. So that's crazy. Randy came to see your basketball in person. So that must have been your was it your junior year?
Yeah, that was my senior year.
Oh, it was late. So you were offered late. Wow. Yep. That's unusual. I mean, because I coached college football, and the recruiting cycle now is so crazy. Everyone gets offered now. Now it's early because of the early signing date.
Right.
And it rarely goes past that. So you must have gone into like January, or December or January.
Yep.
And they must have had your official visit, because UConn would always come back late for the winter, for the start of the winter.
Right.
So did you visit like probably January or late December, you think?
Yeah. So I never forget, we played our arch rivals, and I had a basketball in January.
Yeah.
Right after the game, me and my parents had to get on the road, basketball probably over like 9:00. Got on the road, hit it right up to UConn, and it was on my official visit. Yep.
Oh my God. That's great. Now, had you talked to UConn? Like, you didn't talk to UConn your junior year. You didn't do the camp circuit at all, kind of year between that summer. Nobody. Wow, that's amazing. That's amazing.
I was on my way because I was so focused on going to school down south. So Gardner Webb was like heavy on me, and they said, my dad told him like, don't talk to my, I think I was like 16 at the time, 16-year-old son without me. He's not old enough to make decisions by himself. So they messed up because they set up a whole visit through me instead of my father. So
you can't do that. That doesn't work.
Oh yeah.
And they're a good Division II program, but that's unbelievable. So you went pretty much your junior year. You weren't getting letters from anyone. You weren't getting calls from anyone specific besides like Gardner Webb.
Yeah, I was getting like camp invites. Like I think I had one from Syracuse, just to come up to the camp and try to get them. But that's all I really had. It's kind of like a short thing, a questionnaire.
Yeah. Yeah, that's what that's what it's turned into now.
Right.
The one-day camp circuit is just it's like the NFL combine
Right.
basically.
Sure.
They
For sure.
time you in the 40, you do a couple drills, you do one-on-ones, and then they really decide on the spot if they're
Right.
going to offer you or not. They do your measurements and everything. That's so unbelievable that throughout you didn't get any letters, you
Nope.
didn't do much, and nobody like came to see you.
Nope.
And Randy always believed in Pennsylvania football.
Right.
He
He's from.
always believed,
Yeah.
yeah, he's from Glen Rock.
Yeah.
He always believed in PA, and he always believed in Ohio because he knows that you guys were tough kids. He
Right.
knows it's a good state for football. So that's amazing that he just happened to get a call. Is there anyone you're missing? And we like when I recruited kids too, we would go and watch them play basketball just to see their athleticism.
For sure.
And that tells you right away what kind of talent you have.
For sure.
It shows you can move, you can bend, you're flexible, you can jump, you
Right.
can play hoops, you
Right.
can do anything. So
Right.
you were just a great natural athlete.
For sure.
Who was your host on your visit, and did you have a good time?
I forget. I think it was Alfred Fincher that was
You had Finch? All right.
my host, but I was him and Dan was real tight, so I was
Yes.
all those guys. But it was crazy because on my visit, they were on the school was on Christmas break, so it was
Oh,
really
yes.
yeah,
There's nobody there.
it was really just the football guys. So
Yes. Okay. So
yeah,
they had to rush to get you up there because that's when signing date was in February.
yeah.
And we didn't get back for class until like the end of January or mid-January.
Right.
So I remember they always had trouble with recruiting visits. Dan was a local guy, so he could come up and
Right.
take you out. And Fincher must have been around and stayed. And because I know they used to do winter intersession classes. So that's crazy. So you came to campus when nobody was there, and that's when they had your official. Were there other recruits there, or was it just
Yeah.
you? Oh,
Yes.
they did it. Okay, so they had a full recruiting weekend.
Yeah, me and recruits there actually got pretty tight on our visit, and we all were like,
This is the place.
if you commit, I commit. So, and those guys were from Florida. So.
Yeah. No, I had the same experience. I committed my junior year, the fall of my junior year, without even visiting, which is crazy. I was just, dumb. I just they're Division I. I want to play Division I football. I don't really care about the school. So I had committed without even visiting. So I went on my official, and it was kind of the same deal. We had a bunch of kids from Florida up, and we all talked about it. And we're like, "Oh, you're going to commit, I'm going to commit, and let's try to turn this place around. Let's make it into something." And that's how it all started. The UConn 2000 project was what brought us in because the being able to go 1A and then you guys being able to join the Big East. I mean that's the transformation. If you watch it from when I came in 99 to 2003 is amazing. And then after that, when you guys all took over, it went to the next level.
Right.
And UConn football was doing better than UConn basketball for years. It was so good to see. It was so good to see. So you committed, and were you nervous when you got there, or were you excited? Because for me, it was culture shock. I'm from upstate New York. The football here is awful, right. And I was a big fish in a small pond.
Right.
Everyone there was good. And the funniest thing to me was the coaches were always nice. The minute you stepped on campus, the niceness kind of went out the window. They were a little bit tougher. They were tougher on you. The recruiting, they're your best friends, and you call them. And then when they see you the first day, now we got you. We own you. We don't have to be nice. Right. But was it kind of a culture shock for you, or did you feel like it was a smooth transition?
Yeah, I think it was a culture shock for sure. Like you said, like Coach Edsel and them, laid the red carpet out on the visit. Having prime rib, and that was my first time having to be able to eat a whole lobster.
Yeah, right.
So And I never forget, my parents dropped me off, left, and we had a freshman meeting, incoming freshman meeting. And the first thing Coach Essu said, I'm your parents now. I'm your parent now.
Yeah, I'm your daddy now. Yep, that's what he did.
I just remember when like the first couple of days, and I called my dad, like, man, you got to come get me. You got to come get me.
You did the same thing I did.
And my dad said, the only way you're coming home is if you walk home. So I'm like, man, I got to stick it out. So.
Oh my God, that's hilarious. I did the exact same thing. When I was there, we had just freshman practice.
Right.
We had 4 days of freshman practice before the varsity team came. And after the first day, I'm like, I can't do this. This is ridiculous. Right. And I called home. I said, please come get me. And he said, if you really want to come home, you can come home and maybe go to SUNY Albany or something like that. But to waste this opportunity, I think you'll regret it.
Right.
And my buddy at the time, his name was Ed and J Chuck. And Ed is just a complete idiot and an asshole and funnier than hell. And the true story, I just looked at Ed. I go, Ed, are we staying or are we going? He goes, I'm going to school for free. I'm staying.
Right.
I go, all right, I guess I'm staying. So I did the exact same thing and called home and like, I can't do this. Right. And I think like when the veterans came, this was before we would go to the Berkshires, the prep school in Massachusetts for training camp. Right. I actually liked it. It was cold. It was nicer weather. The food was better, but a lot of people hated it. So we went to the Berkshires, and the first week of practice, I was an offensive tackle, and I was running with the twos basically because, I mean, when Randy came in, so many guys ended up leaving. Right. So I was stuck on the twos. I don't think I touched anyone for a week. Like I couldn't get in the defensive end's way. I'm like, I can't do anything right. Right. It just the speed and the playbook and the installation was so tough that I just couldn't handle it. Right. What was it like for you when you first started getting into it and you eventually got it right? Right. When do you feel it started to click?
I would say midway through training camp, my freshman year. Yeah. I mean, like Pennsylvania kids are known for being tough, hard-nosed kids. So like once I got going and once I got into the rhythm of what big time D1 football looks like, once I got that down, I was fine. And then we had great guys that was there in front of us. Alfred Finch was a great leader. Dan Orlowski was a great leader. So, and I think just the guys that I came in with were like the same type mindset. Yeah. Like 5-star kids, getting recruited by all these schools. We were just a bunch of hard-nosed kids that just wanted an opportunity. And I think that's what helped me out too, just being around like-minded people, and how it wears on you. How Coach Essu developed the program, so I think that's what helped me out as well.
That's the biggest thing I think that we did well at UConn. Coach Edsel was the best at developing talent. Right. Because we always didn't have, like, if you go to rivals or whatever, we never had like the best recruiting classes, ranked in the Big East. We would be ranked near the bottom, but right. He would always develop players, whether he redshirted them or not. By the time they were seniors, they were stars. They were players. Right. Did you redshirt your freshman year or did you play?
Not redshirted.
That was smart. Okay, so they redshirted you. Yeah. And I keep forgetting, did you come in 04, 05?
I came in 04.
04. That's what I thought, 04. Okay, so you redshirted that was the bowl team, the 04, 05 team?
Yes, yeah.
Okay. Yeah. Did you got to go on that trip and everything?
To Mobility Bowl?
Yeah.
Yeah. That was actually my redshirt freshman year, so I was playing special teams.
Okay, you were playing. So yeah. How was that experience being a part of the first bowl team? I was there. We traveled well. We were so excited and so happy to see like the foundation of the program and that it all paid off in the end with you guys. You guys jumped into the Big East early.
Right.
You ended up going in a year early, 7-4, great record, and then Motor City Bowl.
Right.
So what was that experience like for you?
It was great. I think that set the standard, though. I think that catapulted us to the next level. That was the standard. Like, this is UConn football. This is what we do. So, but you always, like, growing up, you see on TV all the bowl games and dudes getting bowl gifts, and you want to experience that. So
swag,
right. So, like, doing that my second year in a program that just went, big time D1 was like huge. And like I said, it set the standard for like us guys that were younger than those leaders that were there, and that was like the standard starting from that point on. That was the standard.
Yeah, for sure it was. I mean, I talked to Chris Bellamy about it, and he said the same thing. He said that year was magical, and it did set the standard, because if you look at it, really from 2002 to 2010, that was the time period where UConn football was at its best.
Right.
I think it was 05 when DJ took over at quarterback, and there were some struggles there. And I don't remember, did you go to a bowl game in 05 or 06?
No, we didn't.
Did you end up going to a bowl game at the end of your career?
Yeah, we were my senior year, we were ranked 10th in the nation.
That's right.
Yeah, I mean, we were ranked 5th in the nation as a defense.
Was that the year you were co-Big East champs?
Yeah.
Okay.
All we had to do was beat West Virginia.
No, I saw that game. I remember that game. That was Pat White, Steve Slayton.
Noel Devine, and all those guys. So
that was a tough match.
Yeah.
That was always a tough matchup.
Yeah.
And I'm trying to think, was that the Meineke Car Care Bowl? Was that the Charlotte Bowl?
Yep, Meineke Car Care Bowl, yeah.
Down in Wake Forest. Okay.
But we had a chance to go to the Sugar Bowl.
Oh, I know. Believe me, I remember.
The Meineke Car Care Bowl.
I remember.
Hey, shout out to my guy Shady. He ended up beating West Virginia the next week and made us co-Big East champ. So
yes, dude, I remember. I watched every game that year. And I would get so angry because on College game day, Kirk Herbstreit would pick against UConn, and I would want to drive there and punch him in the face. And they're winning every week, but he still picks against us.
Right.
The wall.
Right.
And then I came to a couple games. I think I came when you played at Syracuse. I came to a home game. I think it was against Virginia Tech. I mean, the rent was just popping at that time. I think we had a sellout record for several years.
Right.
Like for 4 or 5 years, the rent was just amazing and sold out every game. Now I think your junior year, senior year, you were all Big East, correct?
Junior and senior year, yep.
Junior and senior year, you were all Big East.
Yep.
I think all American you should have been, all ECAC. I mean, because I used to watch that defense, and you guys were just violent up front. You had a great front four. Yep. Your linebackers were the difference makers.
Right.
Because you got nobody ran the ball against you guys. You would come up and just stick people. I mean, it would be in a half a second they'd be on the ground.
Yep.
Nobody's breaking tackles. Nobody's getting by you. And did you have Coach Orlando?
Yes.
Out of Orlando?
Yes.
Best coach in the world.
Best coach I ever had in my life. Taught me how to break down film, how to watch film.
He was a genius.
Right.
He was a genius.
We played Indiana at Indiana, right?
Yeah.
I knew this guy was nuts when.
Yeah, he's out of his mind.
I walked into the meeting room, pillow in a blanket. I'm like, Coach, why is it? He said, I don't go home. And
he doesn't go home.
Kids and all that. So I'll never forget. We played Indiana. So we come into the meeting. He was like, Danny, watch this. He said, wherever that running back lines up, if he lines up wide outside of the tackle, it's a pass.
Yep.
If he lines up closer inside, closer, like behind the guard, it's a run. Watched 4 games, just me and him, and it was consistent. He said, now, the game plan is, if he's this wide, you're calling this defense. If he's close, you're calling this defense. And the whole game was consistent. And we ended up beating him like I think I had a pick six. I think it was 14-7 or 7-0 or something like that.
Okay. So you were playing the mic.
Yeah, I was playing the mic. Yeah.
Okay,
yeah.
so you were the quarterback of the defense.
Yeah.
Coach Orlando was great. He was out of his mind, but he was great. And I remember being offense and on the sidelines, and he'd call out every play. Every play they were running, he'd know what it was.
Yeah. He taught me how to break down film. Like he taught me how to break down film and teams' tendencies. So.
And he was such a great coach, and I was so happy that he was able to move on and be a coordinator at some big schools. I think he was at Texas for a little while. Just the guy loved football, and you see pictures of him when he played at Wisconsin. And he would just walk up and he'd stare at you.
Yeah.
He'd say hi, and then he'd walk away. And he just had that kind of Dexter serial killer look in his eyes, but he knew football. Nobody knew football more than Coach Orlando.
He's actually the defensive coordinator at South Florida right now. So
he's a DC at UCF, USF now. That's awesome. That's awesome here.
A couple weeks ago, they had Alabama on the ropes.
So yes, they did. They had him on the ropes 2 years ago too. They lost 3-0 in the monsoon.
Yeah.
So that doesn't surprise me at all. And I hope he continues to ascend. I don't think he has aspirations to be a head coach, but I think he could be. If he, I don't think he wants to the politics would come with being the head coach. But football wise, I mean, he could absolutely do it. And when I was there, Hank Hughes was the DC. I think was he the DC with you guys? Yeah. Hank was great, and Todd was great, and Randy did such a great job of keeping that original staff together.
That was a great staff. So
I think was Norris still there? I don't know if Norris has left.
He was a special team coach and outside linebacker coach.
And I'm trying to think. Mike Foley came in as the offensive line coach when Norris left. But it was amazing.
The offensive line coach.
Norris Wilson was the O-line coach. Yeah.
Coach. Yeah.
But he left, I think, in either 06 or 07. He got the head job at Columbia, and Ambrose took over the OC job for him. But Norris was my favorite. He always make us laugh. He always walk into the meeting and say, "Well, boys, I'm about 20 pounds lighter today." And say, "Why, coach?" "I just got my ass ripped in the coach's meeting. Because of you fucks." "Sorry, coach." That's what he always say.
Right.
About 10 pounds lighter. We know how bad we did by if it was 10 or 20 pounds lighter. We got our ass ripped today. So that was an amazing staff. Now, you were obviously a prospect coming out for the NFL after your senior year. Did you sign with an agent right away, and did you go off to train second semester senior year, or did you stay on campus?
So I was meeting with agents like during when we were in North Carolina for the Motor City. I'm in the Meineke Car Care Bowl.
Yep.
Then after that, I kind of like narrowed it down and I signed with an agent. And then I was actually still taking classes, so I had to like email all my teachers and sit down and talk with them. Like, that's what I'm doing. I would go away to train in Florida for 2 weeks, then come back to campus.
Oh, so they worked it out.
Go back and forth, yeah. So I was doing that during the combine training and stuff like that. So I just go back and forth from Orlando, Florida, and back to campus.
How did you like the training, and how big was the group that was with you?
See, so I'm like, I don't like a lot of guys go for like the big names and places. I like to go for like the quality. Like if you're there with like 50 other guys and you got these big name guys working out, you're going to fall through the cracks. You're not going to get your real work. And so I went down to Atlanta with like golf. It was like, I think we had like six or seven guys, and the guys that stand out to me that trained with me was Ronnie Kinlaw. He was running back at Penn State.
Yep.
And then they had a receiver. I forget the receiver's name, but those two guys stand out to me the most that trained with me. So it was like a small group, but we definitely got good work in, and we're pretty good.
So you would go for 2 weeks, and would it be like double sessions, triple sessions? Obviously, you're lifting, you're running, you're doing all that. What was the process like? Because you're obviously preparing for, the 225, the bench, the shuttle, the 40, that stupid L drill, and then the position drills.
So we had 2 workouts a day.
They did 2 days. Okay.
Started out early, but I had a good agent. He paid for everything, food meal
Yes.
delivered to my door. So,
Good.
all that plays a part in the process, eating right and all that. So
Yeah.
we work out in the morning, then we might do some field work, do the field work on the 5-10-5, work on our 40 starts and stuff like that. And then in the afternoon we'll go back and work on, our bench press and lifting and stuff like that.
Was it pretty much something every day, or did they give you a day off here or there?
No, I was every day.
It was every day. Yeah.
Every day.
And did they do any film work with you too?
Not really. We didn't
Not
do
really. Just all training.
Yeah, all training. Yeah.
So God, that's crazy. So you would do it 2 weeks on, 2 weeks off, and the 2 weeks you were back at stores. Were you working with Coach Martin?
Yes, work out with Coach Martin and Coach Orlando with position drills.
Okay. Yeah, because that's when they had the indoor facility, which was the first of its kind in the Northeast. You could do whatever you needed to. Wow. Was that with Donald Thomas? Was he on that team as well, or was he after you?
Yeah, Donald Thomas. Yeah.
Oh, Donald Thomas. Okay. So that was a really good class.
Yeah.
That must have been pretty hectic on you to manage. 2 weeks on, 2 weeks off. You're going to school, then you're not going to school. You're just training, eating, training, trying to get yourself better. Was that difficult to manage?
I don't think so, because I was older at the time. I was a senior, obviously. So, the whole college process. So, in college, you learn how to manage your time. When you first get there, you're all over the place.
Yeah,
you're just blowing with the wind, So, doing that as a senior was easy. And, just managing my time. So when I was away, I was still doing my work, on the computer, and I just email my teacher my work and stuff like that. And then once I was back on campus, that was a lot easier. It was more strenuous. I feel like being away was easier, because being on campus, like, you literally have to go to class. You literally have to
you have to be there.
Out, and when I was in Florida, my only job was to work out, and do my schoolwork online. But that wasn't, because I had so much downtime. We only worked out 2 hours.
Yeah.
Morning session and 2 hours afternoon session. So all the rest of it, I have to myself.
What was your major?
Sociology.
Same as me, sociology. They used to call that the graduation major.
Right. I tried HDFS, and that was way harder than sociology. I said, yeah, I'll take sociology.
You said HDFS was harder than sociology? Oh, you're going to put me down.
What was it? Human Development, Family Studies.
Family Studies. I used to make fun of all them, because all the football guys would be in HDFS. My friend Ed said that. They don't even offer it anymore.
They don't?
No, they don't offer it. They don't offer it. That was like the athletes major. All the athletes would major at HDFS. And my friend Ed would joke how easy it was. And social, I actually like social.
Yeah.
Social wasn't easy by any standard. I liked the classes, sociology of work, the sociology of family. I think I took the sociology of prison. I think I took I took white racism. The only white racism class offered in the country was a sociology class. It was by Noel Kasnave. And it was just such an eye-opening experience. I don't know if he was there when you were there. Did you hear the name Noel Kasnave? The white racism class.
I remember the class, though. I don't know if he taught it or not, though. But I
remember. He taught it, and I'm like, I'm looking at this. I'm like, wow, this is pretty accurate. We're all born racist, and we don't even know it. It was just so eye opening.
And it's crazy, because like the older, like I tend to like you said, like, I like the study of people. I like the
yes. You learn that.
Yeah. I like. It was like I fell into sociology by accident. But
and
like,
you grew to like it.
Oh man, it's like, I like it. It's crazy.
No, I'm with you, because whatever you do in life, whatever job or career or business you're in, sociology at least helps you learn. Psych does too, but I thought really helps you to read people.
Right.
You can read and know,
Right.
what personality you're dealing with, type A, B, C, or D, and that helps you to relate to them. And if you're selling something or whatever you're doing, it helps you acclimate, and you can be a chameleon
Right.
depending on what you're dealing with. And that's what I felt really taught you is, the sociology of work, the different personality types, the different things to expect while you're going to be at your job, at your career, the sociology of your family, the hierarchy that goes and involved with that. And I really did grow to love it as well. I thought it was very important. The only issue is you can't really get a job with it. Like you have to either go to grad school and get a master's in it, to do something with it. There's not a whole lot you can do with it, but I enjoyed it as well. So you graduated on time, you did all your training. So draft day comes. What were you projected? Like, what did your agent tell you? Like, seriously, these are the projections for you.
Between 4th to 7th round.
He said 5th and 7th.
Yeah.
Okay. So you're sitting there, you're watching the draft, and that I can't even imagine, because I played in NFL Europe, and watching that draft was a nerve-wracking experience to see where you would go. But I can't even imagine the NFL draft.
Yeah.
You ended up with Green Bay, correct?
Yes.
To start?
Yeah.
Okay. Were you surprised that you went undrafted?
Yeah, I was, because
I was too.
I was when the Big East was the Big East, so big names, and I was one of the top linebackers in the Big East at that time, and it was just it was. But I dealt with it all my life, like just even going back to
recruiting,
to always being an underdog. So I mean, I was hurt. Like I had my friend. It was crazy because the draft was actually during spring weekend.
Yeah.
So came up, and we were all up there. I'm like, man, we're all sitting in my.
I had that too. I hated that.
So I'm like, phone's ringing. I'm thinking it's a team. It's my mom or somebody calling me. I'm like, I don't call my phone right now.
I hated that too. Whenever the phone would ring.
Yeah. So it definitely was nerve wracking, but I'm glad. Opportunity.
For sure.
Green Bay actually called me in the 7th round and was like, we love you a lot. We don't have no more picks, but we wanted to draft you, but we don't have no more draft picks. But we want to select you as a priority free agent. So it worked out, because a priority free agent is different than a regular free agent. So a free agent has to go out and go to the rookie mini camp. It's basically like a tryout.
And you get cut from it. They cut a lot of guys from it. Yeah.
Priority free agent, it's like you're one of the guys, at least until middle, whenever they start cuts in training camp. So, and I got a signing bonus, which wasn't like nothing crazy, but
but you got something.
Right. So they showed they were like invested in me in some way, shape, or form. So that was good to know.
And I believe we had an ally in Green Bay. I don't know if John Dorsey was there. Yeah, John Dorsey was there, and Randy was close with John Dorsey, which I think helped. So it doesn't work out, with the draft. You go to Green Bay. How was that experience like? Because that's got to be. I mean, was it similar to college? I mean, was it like a culture shock, or did you fit in smoothly with the transition?
I think it was smoother with the transition, because, like I said, I was older. Been through leaving mom and daddy's house and the nest, and having to figure it out by myself. So, it was smooth. It was just, the speed of the game was different, obviously, and you got guys that's like everybody's good, and everybody's elite athletes. So I think that was the biggest difference from going from college to the NFL. But like I said, I was always an underdog, so I looked at it as, if I get an opportunity, I'll make the best of the opportunity, and I'm gonna be so good that you can't ignore me.
Right. I hear you. At this time, I have to mention our sponsors at Parseghian Partners. Parseghian Partners, they specialize in wealth management, employee benefits, and retirement planning. President Sean Rabinowitz, he provides exceptional results for his clients. Go to their website today at www.procyanpartners.org for more information. Thank you. I didn't screw that one up.
Is lighting good? I feel like I'm dark.
You're a little dark. It's okay.
Sure?
I got it. Yeah, I can lighten it after. So I wanted to ask also your first year. I know that you ended up being picked up by the Jets.
Right.
But how long did you last? That's a little brighter. How long did you last with the Packers that season?
I was there the whole season.
You were there the whole season. Okay.
So I started off on practice squad, and
right.
I started off on practice squad, and then the Dolphins called. So the Dolphins called and
wanted to sign you off the practice squad.
His name, legendary coach from the Dolphins.
Not like Don Shula.
No, after him. I forget his name. Jesus.
Not like Jimmy Johnson.
No. Not that way back.
Okay. I wouldn't know then.
It's like recent, like obviously it was recent.
Nick Saban?
No, that's too far back.
Because he was the head
legendary coach. I forget his name, but he calls me and he's like, because I was going back and forth, so they called me. You know, you gotta call your agent, like tell Green Bay that this is what's happening. So we tell Green Bay, and they're talking about matching it. So I'm thinking about the move and having to move all the way down there, but it's Miami, So he's on the phone and he was like, Danny, I have $100,000 signing bonus for you, and what's in Green Bay? Like, why would you stay in Green Bay? You're coming to Miami. Like, this is Miami, beaches, good weather, and so they were trying to it was kind of like
recruiting again,
recruiting all over again. So they called. I end up staying the whole year. Then Green Bay actually, put me on the active roster to stay.
They activated you good.
Yeah, so I played special teams that year. Yep.
Yeah, and nothing against Miami's great, but the cost of living is also a lot higher, right. I'm sure, than Green Bay.
Green Bay's like a tourist town, so I love it. I love
it. Yes. And how long did you end up staying in Green Bay?
I was there for a year and a half.
You were there for a year and a half, and that's when you went to the Jets?
Yep. So it was crazy. I was actually – so after I left there, I bounced around to the Lions for a month and a half, and then I was out the league for 2 years, 2 or 3 years, and started working a real job.
Right.
Humbling, working a real job.
It is.
That's when I played in the UFL.
Yes.
UFL for 2 years, played there, and then the first year.
Las Vegas, right?
Yeah, well, I played for Hartford Colonials the 1 year.
Oh, Hartford, okay.
And then my next year, I played with the Vegas team.
Yeah.
And it folded, but I was putting a great film up. So then I gotta work out with the Jets, and that was in January. So if they signed you during that in January, they signed you to a futures contract.
It's a futures contract, right?
So they end up signing me, and then I went there and was balling. Another obstacle though. I'm balling, one of the best linebackers in the preseason. And they were like, "Yeah, you're playing your butt off. We love you. This is what we're gonna do. We're gonna put you on the active roster for the first. I think it was the first game. We're gonna put you on the active roster, and then you're gonna be on practice squad." So that was the dumbest thing they could have did. So never forget. We're playing the first game with the Jets. We played the Bucks.
Yeah.
And Rutgers, Greg Schiano.
He was the head coach. Yep.
Yeah, he was the head coach, so he knew me from college.
Of course.
So obviously, when they're breaking down the film, and they're talking about people on the roster, you see my name, got to watch the film and stuff like that. So then I end up being with the Jets, through up until week 14. And
wow.
Yeah, and then that's when the Bucks called me down there and put me on the active roster.
Wow. So they played you and then put you on the practice squad, and then you got to go down to Tampa, and Schiano liked you, activated you, and you played there for the rest of the season.
Yeah.
Okay. Talk to me a little bit about the UFL. I liked the UFL. I thought it was a good concept. I know they also had the AAFL that came around at the same time.
Mm-hmm.
They're always trying to develop these spring leagues.
Right.
But the UFL had money, at least they had financial backing.
Right.
They had good coaches.
Right.
What was your experience in the UFL? Because I believe they put you guys. Did you live in hotels? They put you in a
Well,
hotel.
in Vegas, we lived in apartments.
They
So
gave you apartments in Vegas,
apartments.
Hartford hotels.
Yeah.
Okay. And did you like it? Did you like your coaching?
I loved it, especially in Vegas. We had what was his name? Fossil. Jim
Yeah,
Fossil.
yeah, Jim Fossil. Yeah,
He was a great coach.
he
But
was.
it was a great opportunity. I mean, it worked out for me, and it was giving me a chance to showcase my talent,
Get the
getting film,
film.
getting film out there, and it worked out for me. So I mean, it was, and I think, and you look at every other sport, like you look at basketball, they got the D League, and you got those things. So just like when I was in high school, and Coach Etu went to that coach and was like, is there anybody that we can be missing on? So you look at now we're talking about a bigger platform and a bigger,
Yeah,
group of people. Maybe some teams can miss out on a player that they never
they
seen or
do.
to look at, and they get a chance to let this young man get film and get recognized. So I appreciated the UFL, even though it folded and things like that. It still gave me an opportunity to get my film out because I feel like if it wasn't for the UFL, teams wouldn't have been able, like the Jets wouldn't have been able to see my film and see me play.
Oh, especially after a 2-year break. No, and that's what I always felt the beauty of NFL Europe was. NFL Europe was a developmental league for the NFL. It had worked for years, or decades, or whatever. I think it was a decade, and it was Paul Tagliabue, the commissioner. That was his baby.
Right.
He wanted to develop football worldwide. Roger Goodell came in and he didn't like it. He shut it down. And it wasn't that costly. It ended up being like $1 million per team. But I wholeheartedly agree with you that I think there's enough talent overall that they could have 40 NFL teams.
Right.
There are so many guys that it not only fall through the cracks that just don't get an opportunity.
Right.
They can't. There's not enough reps to go around.
Right.
There's not enough reps to develop young talent. And you especially see it at the quarterback position. I mean, they give up on I think they give up on quarterbacks way too fast.
Right.
They give them like I'm not a Zach Wilson fan by any stretch. He was the guy with the Jets, but 2 years and you're gone, and you're their first round pick. I think he was third in the whole draft. That to me is crazy.
Right.
Trey Lance, he had a couple injuries, gets traded. Gets traded to Dallas. But I do think the NFL is going to come to some sort of working agreement, whether it's with the new UFL, which is the XFL and USFL combined to develop players. I host another show. My co-host firmly believes that the NFL should have a developmental league during the season that plays on like Wednesday nights. And that way, if a team needs someone, they're not calling someone off the couch.
Right.
They have somebody ready-made that's been playing throughout, that's healthy and good to go. That's his belief. But I do think that we need a G League, so to speak, because guys fall through the cracks and guys don't get the reps that they have.
Right. And I kind of fell through the cracks too. So like when I finished, when I was playing in Tampa Bay and was balling, almost made the Pro Bowl, was the only linebacker still to this day to, start at all three linebacker positions. I never forget a reporter had said to me like something along the lines, I don't know verbatim, but they were basically saying, how do I feel about, Lovie Smith, like discovering me? Like, he didn't discover me. Like, I always been Danny Lansanah. Like, I always been a baller. He just was an opportunity to showcase my ability, and I took advantage of it. Like, I always been able to play. He didn't discover me. Like, I'm me. I've been me. He just gave me a true opportunity to show what I can do at a high level.
And that's the biggest thing.
Right.
When you get those opportunities, you make the most of them.
Right.
And whenever you were given that show, to be featured, to be showcased, when you were put in the spotlight, you always came through. And I think that makes all the difference in the world because so many people fold. And it also drives me nuts that there are so many people that get a million opportunities and still don't get it right. And there's only some people get one or two opportunities and that's it. They don't go back to them. I always thought that was wrong. When did you stop playing for good?
My last year was 2017.
It was 2017. Okay. So did you stay with Tampa after that?
Yeah, I played 4 years in Tampa.
So you love Tampa. Tampa was a good system.
Yeah, I love Tampa. Beautiful city. It's not too fast and not too slow. Good restaurants and stuff like that. I love Tampa. Yeah.
That's a real impressive NFL career. Especially to come out the way you did as an undrafted free agent. Green Bay, the Jets, having a 2-year layoff and then coming back and balling out.
It might have been longer, but
still though, that's
I played 8 years.
That's rare, man. That shows Harrisburg, blue collar toughness. Not a lot of people have that. And it's huge because you played long enough to get the NFL pension, which is very important. You came out of it relatively healthy, right? You feel good. Yeah. And you represented UConn with pride. We always love to watch you guys play. We always love to see our guys go to the NFL. And I think that set the standard, like you said. The defense has always been productive, has always produced talent across the board. I think was Darius Butler your year as well, or a year after you?
Graduated a year after me. But I tell people all the time, I'm like, on my defense, it was no 5-star guys.
Right.
It was everybody on my defense, but one guy was in the NFL building at one point in time.
Yeah.
I say
that's amazing.
Tyvon Branch drafted 2nd round or
Patriots. 4th. Yep.
Tyvon Raiders, Darius Butler, the Robert McClains,
Robbie, yep.
The
Reggie.
We had guys. But it wasn't like how we didn't have 5 stars next to our name. We was just
never.
A bunch of ordinary dudes that did extraordinary things with a great coaching staff.
And it was because you had work ethic, dedication, desire. You were passionate. You loved it. And you believed in yourself. You had confidence. And I think that's what sets everyone apart, is having that confidence and belief in yourself. Makes all the difference in the world. Because when you don't have it and you're just out there going through the motions, it's not going to happen. But that defense arguably is probably the best in Connecticut history, especially with the talent that you ended up having, the guys that ended up making it to the next level. That hasn't happened, so you were really part of something special. When you got out of football, what did you do right away? What was your first career move, your first job move?
Started doing real estate. So
real estate, that's natural.
So it was probably the last 2 years I was in Tampa. Hardy Nickerson was my linebacker coach, and he used to he used to always come in a meeting and talk about real estate. And this is at the point I'm like, I don't know what I'm gonna do. I don't want to sit behind somebody's desk and punch a clock every day and have to wear. So he used to always talk about it every day. Because he's from Cali. He's like, Cali. All my properties are in Cali. I'm making X amount of dollars a month. I'm like, okay. So the one off season, I'm like, you know what? I'm gonna just go back to Pennsylvania. And I'm gonna buy my first rental property. So, and this is before the spike in the real estate happened, pre-COVID and all that.
Yes.
I was getting houses for like, 10 grand, close to nothing.
Yeah.
And I did it that way. So, and I fell like into it. Like I got my own little crew. I still do it to this day. Got my own crew. So we went from, we do rental properties and we also do flips. So I have my own crew.
You do both. Wow.
Yeah. So I started out, when I first started out, I'm like, okay, yeah, flips were fine. Like, okay, let's say I flip this house and get $40,000, but I might not flip another house that year. So I'm like, I'd rather do rental properties where each month I'm getting a check.
Right.
So I was doing rental property. I'm like, yeah, this is fun, but I got kind of bored, So I'm like, yeah, let's venture out and flips. Got my own little crew. So now we're doing both, and it works hand in hand, and it's fun, seeing something come from nothing to something, and then building up, obviously building up, my city and helping people like find places to live and building up the housing market here.
Do you because I do a podcast with Laban Marsh. He was way before you and me. He also does real estate.
Okay.
In Erie. He does rental properties and they build and they do it all as well. Nice. So you do the rental properties, and you have a team, and you'll still flip in a house occasionally.
Yeah, like if I find a good deal, yep.
Yeah. So do you actually do part of the crew and do the manual labor and all that?
That's that. No, I don't. No.
Okay,
no.
good.
Now, the rental properties, I can do some stuff in there because it don't have to be, top line and stuff like that. But I could do a little bit.
But you love it though. You really like it, and you've made a difference in hair. Because this country overall is lacking in affordable housing. So for sure, it's great that you got into that and you're providing that. How long have you been doing it for now?
It's probably about 6 or 7 years now.
Okay. Yeah. And what's the name of your company?
Lansanah Home Services Group.
Okay. I just make sure. So I put that. I'll put that in the notes for you to promote it, because that's big. Yeah. And I should do I'll definitely talk to Laban and do an episode with you and Laban. You can talk real estate with him. Yeah. Laban does rental properties as well, and I know Matt Newsy sells houses. He does all that. Did you have to take the exam to do real estate?
So I'm a real investor. If you're a real estate agent,
right,
you take the test and stuff like that. So
okay, I got you. Married, kids?
Yep, married.
Oh, God bless you. Good for you.
My wife is actually the real estate agent, so
okay.
So we did it the smart way. Got a 9-year-old son who loves sports, loves UConn. He's been up there multiple times, and been on the field when I was the honorary captain of ringing the bell and stuff. Yep. So yeah.
Is he in the sports too? Does he play?
Like right now, he plays basketball. Right now is obviously football season, so he plays. I actually coach high school too, so he plays for the little league team that I coach at the high school. They have a little league team, is well known here, obviously. Like Ricky Waters went there, LaShawn McCoy, where I'm coaching at. So yeah.
I could never coach that level. I pulled my hair out. I used to hate it. I used to hate it at Holy Cross, when we would have the youth camp, and it drive me nuts. Because they don't listen. I tell them what to do. They don't listen.
See what I got going for me though. I play in the NFL, and that's like a lot of those kids.
Yes, that gives you clout. They'll listen to the guy that played in the NFL.
So and we won 2 years ago, we won a state title. Last year, we lost in the semifinals.
It goes that far? You guys, they play for states and everything for Little League?
No, I coach high school. He plays for
high school.
Oh, we have high school. He plays for the feeder program to the high school.
Okay. So your high school team.
Yeah, yep. I'm the defensive coordinator.
Oh, I didn't know that. Okay. Yeah. Is it the school that you went to?
No, it's
a different school.
It's our arch rivals, Bishop. Yeah, Bishop. So we just actually played my high school, and like it was like 12,000 people there. So here in Harrisburg, it was like my high school, Harrisburg, and then you walk, like we literally used to walk to each other's school to play each other. Then it's like an inner city trophy, like it's a big deal. Like that game is like a big deal. So like this year was our first time playing each other, and I want to say in like since like 2014 or 15 when we played at my high school, and it was like 12 to 13,000 people there. It was a great environment.
Yeah, and that's amazing. Did you know that you wanted to coach when you got out? You wanted to be involved some way?
I didn't like. I always said I didn't want to coach, but
Everyone says that, and then you get roped into it.
Then I started playing at a smaller. I started coaching at a smaller school to see if I like it. Actually, my high school coach, Earl Mosley, who I talked about, was one of my guys that I looked up to and helped me get an opportunity. He was coaching at a smaller school, and I went up there and just to see if I liked it and see if. And being around the game and doing it, like, just brought that passion of doing it, and it helped that, I didn't leave the NFL like on bad terms. I left like really on my own terms, like
which is rare,
right? Because when I left I had tore on the Mighty Car Care Bowl field, the Panthers. We were playing the Panthers, and I tore my hamstring off my pelvic bone.
Oh,
season, yeah. So it was like I got I recovered, did the 6 month free. Then I signed with Miami, and I'll never forget. I'm sitting there watching the film, and at this point, I just had my son. He probably was like 1. I was like 28, 29, and I was, my story. I just talked about all I've been through to get to the point. The depth chart to, getting to Tampa and being almost making a Pro Bowl and all those good things that happened. I'm just looking at the depth chart, and I'm at the bottom of the depth chart, and I'm like,
I don't want to do
this again. I'm like, and I never forget. I went up to him like, I'm just gonna retire. I'm done.
Yeah,
and walked on terms. So, like a lot of guys that
they never get to do that.
Opportunity to do it. Like they're bitter. They can't watch the game because they didn't make their own terms. So, I thank God every day about that. That I left the game on my own turn, unscathed, and can still watch the game to this day, and still coach the game and help kids. Help them get an opportunity. Like I have a running back and a safety that I coach that's actually coming up to UConn this Saturday. So
good. I'm going this Saturday.
Okay, yeah, they'll be there on the sideline. So
awesome.
It's kind of full circle, So I'm trying to pump guys, and like I said, like
we need that.
Yeah, Bishop McDevitt, we're known for like athletes. Like I said, Ricky Waters went there. LaShawn McCoy and Harrisburg for having athletes. So trying to get those guys to bite on some of the guys we have here. They did 2 years ago on one of our tight ends, but he ended up going to Eastern Carolina. So
we need that for sure. That's because I do another show with David Schuman. He's from New Jersey. He's another UConn alum. We do Husky Huddle. We do a preview show and then a recap show. And like he knows everyone in Jersey, all the coaches, all the players, and like UConn should be using him as a resource for that. And we don't, which is disappointing. But we would love to get you on if you ever have an opportunity. Husky Huddle, we record live. It's on YouTube Live. Dave Schuman, his channel has 1 million subscribers, does very well. We usually have a guest on to go through the team that, now how they're playing and predicting. We had Mike Burton on last week. Mike Burton has started the collective. Finally, we have Bleeding Blue for Good in Store Central. He was able to raise $1.5 million this year, and we're seeing the difference on the field finally. The importance of it, because in this world now it's the wild, wild west.
Right.
And we got to get into a conference, and he's doing all he can to raise money. They raised it with like 10 people. So his biggest thing is, and that's why I'm trying to help him out, is he doesn't need the $10,000 donations. He needs $200, $500, something like that, $100 a month, whatever you can give. That will make the difference, because we have to double what we had this year to keep what we have and then continue to be active in the transfer portal and with freshmen. So Mike Burton, it's bleedingblueforgood.org. You get a tax write-off for your donation. Or Stores Central is a membership site where you get news, insider news for football and basketball. It's $10 a month. So any one of those, please sign up and support us. We have strength in numbers. We have the great alumni group. And that's what surprised me the most, is how successful our alumni are. I never knew that. And from the guys that I've talked to back in the 90s to you guys, everyone's doing so well, and it's great to hear. So I appreciate that. And yeah, anyone who wants to get involved, please donate. Green Street Trust International. Green Street Trust is our newest sponsor. Brunel Jump and his team. They do protection with asset management and tax reduction. They have strategy sessions that reduce your taxes. Please sign up, or you can schedule a meeting today on his calendly.com/Green Street Trust. Green Street Trust. That's our other sponsor. So, Danny, thank you so much for being on the show. We would love to get you on Husky Huddle if you have time one of these days at noon to talk about the team. But just overall, your current thoughts. I mean, have you had a chance to watch them at all? And you see the difference?
Yeah, for sure.
Yeah.
Look like you're having fun out there too. So that's a good thing.
It's been a while. We need to get this one against Temple, and then 4-2 into the bye week. They got Wake, and then I think they have a good chance of getting into a bowl game. Are you planning? Will you have time eventually to go up to a game, depending on how the season goes?
Depending on our season. If we get a bye week after the regular season, because like we usually go like deep into the playoffs. So
right,
a bye week, after the regular season, I'll probably shoot up there and try to get up there too.
Okay, awesome. I'll definitely keep in touch with you, because if you go up, I'll try to meet you, and we would love to have you on Husky Huddle as well. I will put this up on all the social media sites, Facebook, LinkedIn, and Twitter sometimes. If you can, just repost it and share it, tag the group of people that, your friends, the people that I don't have. Because the more people we tag, the better. Husky Talk has been growing and doing well, and we want to continue to do that for UConn, to make people aware of the success of our alumni in athletics. I've been interviewing volleyball players. I've been interviewing softball players. I've been interviewing baseball players. So it's nice to get back to interviewing a football player.
Right.
I appreciate your time. Wow. So for Danny Lansanah, UConn linebacker, all Big East star, 9-year NFL career, being on Husky Talk, we appreciate him. I am Steve Cully, best podcast host in the universe. Remember, when life gives you lemons, don't make lemonade. Take 2 oranges and throw them back